What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. We're talking a brand new original movie that is called Dangerous Lies. I need you in the comments section down below. Were you looking forward to this? Is this a movie that piqued your interest? Let's get into it. So in Dangerous Lies, when a wealthy elderly man dies and unexpectedly leaves his estate to his new caregiver, she's drawn into a web of deception and murder. If she's going to survive, she'll have to question everyone's motives, even the people she loves. This is directed by Michael Scott. Now, not the Michael Scott, okay, director of Threat Level Midnight. We're talking a fairly familiar director when it comes to television movies. If we look at his resume, we see that he's done a lot of Hallmark work. So I wasn't expecting much in terms of inventiveness when it comes to a movie like this, and I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat. So Camila Mendes has her fan base, obviously. She comes from Riverdale, and that's where everyone knows her from. So I feel like that fan base is going to carry over into this movie, and as most Netflix reviews go, there are going to be a lot of people that defend this film. So anyone who wants me to sit here and praise it just because she's in the movie, I apologize in advance. And this is no fault of hers, right? She does her job within this film. She's as good as she can be with a script like this. I have to judge this as a movie, and I have to say that it's not good. You know what? I shouldn't apologize. I always feel bad critiquing a movie like this that brings over this giant fan base that is going to support it no matter what. I mean, even if it was the worst movie in the world, some would claim that it was woohoo, but I can't sit here and tell you that Dangerous Lies is a movie that is worth your time. It is so generic in the sense that it takes everything that makes a good thriller. It tries to turn those things on their heads, and it rips off, well, I wouldn't even say rips off, it attempts to recreate the formula of a movie. We'll go recent. A movie like Parasite. A movie like Knives Out. A movie like Invisible Man. And you can see patterns of how those films operate trying to be carried over into this film. You have deception, you have twists, you have turns, you have characters that seem like they're on one side of the fence. Turns out they're not. And along the way, it becomes the most predictable movie you've ever seen. And here's the thing, I wasn't even that offended with the first two acts of this movie. I was bored, I will say that, but at least there was some effort shown. There was one shot where the camera moves from the car to the house. I'm like, oh, some slightly inventive cinematography. I can appreciate that. There were moments between our two main characters when they're trying to figure out what they should do with this money, if they should tell this person or that person, or if they should just kind of figure this out as they go along. And I thought that was kind of like, all right, I'm not on the edge of my seat or anything, and I don't feel the thrill of watching a thriller, but I'm at least slightly interested. But then you start to think about how they go about carrying out this plan and the idea behind how they're going to operate with this money that basically no one knows about. And you're sitting back going, come on, you guys are smarter than this. There are other ways to go about doing this. Have you never watched a Martin Scorsese film? All right, there are plenty of ways to do this that would make life a lot easier for you, but instead you take the simplistic route, and it just becomes this predictable, not very engaging ride that tries its best to throw numerous twists at you in the third act, because as you're going along, you think you're starting to figure out, oh, maybe she shouldn't trust insert spoiler here, but then it tries to flip that on its head, and the third act is just this wacky, crazy sequence of events, half of them making no sense, the other half just feel completely out of the blue. Character reveals where they're literally spouting out, you know, in movies when the villains tell their entire evil plan, that happens in this film. And the villainous character to start with that we assume is behind something throughout the entire film, and then we finally get some sort of reveal in the third act. He is a cartoon, man. He's such a cartoon. He's over the top. He's theatrical. You know from the second he shows up at her door, that guy's not good news. Were they trying to hide that from us? No. Was it this reveal at the end? Well, they tried to make it a reveal, but then again, it was too predictable for us to get on board with where this movie went in the third act. And I'm not going to sit here and say the first two acts were good, but at least I was slightly, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And the characters are at least genuinely intriguing, but then the third act, it all just completely falls apart. And it becomes what it looked to be to start with because of Michael Scott directing this film. Cracks me up every time I say that. Just another run-of-the-mill television movie that doesn't feel theatrical in the least bit, and not that it has to, but I needed that intensity. I needed the thrills from what looks and feels to be a thriller and some sort of payoff in the third act, and you get none of that. I mean, everything just wraps up so quickly, and they try to do this standoff with some action, and the action falls flat, and the intensity falls flat, and it's just over, and you're like, did I just waste my time? I think so. And if you're just here to watch Camila Mendes, then I think you'll get at least something out of this film, but I want to say, I wanted her lead to be a bit more dynamic. I mean, she's just so stereotypically honest and nice, and she's the innocent girl that doesn't feel like... I needed more from her. I needed her character, not necessarily her, because once again, she's fine, to step up in that third act. And I just didn't get any of that. So at the end of the day, I was very disappointed in where this movie took us. It was just an overall poorly executed film on Netflix. So if you guys enjoyed this positive review, be sure to leave that thumbs up, and thank you so much for tuning in. My score is a 22% for Dangerous Lies. It's not good. Thank you for watching this video. I'll be back later today ranking my favorite movies of this month. You guys are the best. I'll see you soon.